So now I'm going to add insert list table of content BibTeX bibliography, and so I have to add a database. So I'm going to browse for a database and use this file that I just created, but of course again I could use a larger database that you maintain separately and add this. And okay, now where is this? Oh, the bibliography is here, not quite its place, so let me move it after the index. Okay, and then of course if somewhere I want to cite, I will use this insert citation, and now it gives me the available citation in the database. Of course here there's only one, so I can select it, add it, and then the citation style, I can add text before or after, so there's a number of different options I can use. Of course when you have just one citation, this is easy to find, but in general you have a search option or various filters to find the citation you're looking for in a larger database. So this is also very practical. So let's say I take this one here, and we can look at what it looks like depending on the style that you picked. In this case the style is plain, so it should be just number. But as we have seen in the other document, you could have pretty much anything you want. Okay, so now after the index, I have my list of reference with this particular style, and this is where I have the reference and I can hyperlink to it. Okay, now maybe it is more interesting in the setting where you have linked to a larger database. So let's say I want to change this reference, and I might want to look for a particular article that I know in the title you have quintuple, and here I get a quintuple quotient quest, and so I can add it or delete the previous one, these type of things. Okay, I'm going to cancel, but you see that the search option is pretty practical. Okay, so that takes care of references. I'm pretty much done with what I want to point out, except for a few things. One of them is branches, and I'm going to go directly to this document on lecture notes to explain what it is. Branches are parts of the document that you can turn on or off, and you can create as many as you want. The typical use is for exercises. So let me look. Okay, here you have an exercise. You want to find the domain of something, and you have the solutions. Right now the branch is active, which means that if I look at the document, I have exercise 212. Okay, where are we? Exercise 212, and you see that the solutions is coming with it. But I can decide to deactivate the branch, and then everything in this branch, which is all the solutions of exercises, are going to disappear from the new version of the document. Of course, you can have one version with a branch active, one version with a branch inactive. So this is something that is practical for, so now, where was I, 221? Okay, so here you see you have an exercise without the solution. Okay, 212, you see that now the solution has disappeared. So as I said, these branches are practical either for solutions of exercises, or maybe if you prepare a document for blind review, then you might have some personal information that you might want to put in a branch that you can turn on or off depending on the version you want. So there are various uses for that. To create one is particularly simple. Let's say I go back to my example. I want this stuff in a new branch. Well, you just select it and insert branch, and because there's no branch currently, otherwise you can select in what branch you want this particular text to be in. Then I insert a new branch that I'm going to call branch 1 because I'm very original. And here it is. Right now it's off by default. If you right click on it, you can activate the branch or look at settings and so on. Okay, so that's for branches. One of the last thing, output options. I talked about the hyperlinks already. One interesting aspect is that you can, so this is to look at the output, right? We've pressed this button many times to look at the output in PDF. There are other formats for the output. You see that you could have rich text format, EPS, PostScript, PDF, various kinds of PDF, but also HTML, which is an interesting thing. So let's take a look at what we get when we want to view HTML. So this is going to take a while to generate an HTML file for this lecture notes because it's a fairly large file, and each equation is going to be converted into a picture so that you can get a web page out of this document. So we're going to let it turn, and meanwhile I'm going to go back to my examples to talk about how you can also use LyX very efficiently to collaborate and review. Right. So one of the things that is extremely practical is this LyX Notes, because of course, for instance, if you have a document of a student, then you can add comments without touching the document itself, insert a note and add comments. And when you have a large document, you can look for jump from node to node. This is to jump to the next node. Now you can also turn on the track changes. So if I track changes now, changes are underlined and corrections. Let me do some corrections here. And corrections are striked out, right? Okay. Now this, of course, by default, I cannot compile because it is still compiling in the other document, so I have to wait. So these things appear in the LyX document, essentially for your collaborator to see that you have made some corrections. Different users are going to be assigned different colors. Sometimes you want it also in the output when you print out to quickly see what part has been modified, and here you have a button to show the changes in the output, which means that this would look like it also on the PDF. So in color with this underline or striked out.